If you are over 60 years old and your legs feel heavy, cramped, or like the blood just isn't moving the way it used to, I need you to stop whatever you are doing and watch this entire video, because what I am about to share with you could genuinely change the way you feel every single day. Most people, including many doctors, immediately reach for magnesium when they hear about leg cramps, poor circulation, or that uncomfortable tingling sensation that keeps seniors up at night. And yes, magnesium does play a role in muscle function, but here is what nobody is telling you. There is one specific vitamin that has been quietly studied for decades, a vitamin that works directly on the inner walls of your blood vessels, that improves the flow of blood through your legs, that reduces inflammation in your arteries, and that most people over 60 are chronically deficient in. And when you understand how this vitamin actually works inside your body, you will understand exactly why so many seniors are struggling with cold feet, leg fatigue, visible varicose veins, and those awful nighttime cramps, not because of low magnesium, but because of a deficiency that has gone completely unaddressed. Stay with me, because this is information that can genuinely help you or someone you love. Let us begin by talking about what actually happens to circulation as we age, because this is the foundation of everything we are going to discuss today. When you were young, your blood vessels were flexible, supple, and elastic. They could expand and contract with ease, allowing blood to move freely and efficiently from your heart all the way down to your toes and back up again. But as the years go by, something called oxidative stress begins to accumulate inside the lining of your blood vessels. Oxidative stress is essentially damage caused by unstable molecules called free radicals, and over time these free radicals damage the endothelium, which is the delicate inner lining of your arteries and veins. When this lining becomes damaged and inflamed, the vessels lose their flexibility, they become stiffer, plaque can begin to build up, and the result is that blood no longer flows as smoothly or as efficiently as it once did. By the time most people reach their 60s, this process has been going on for decades, and the legs are usually one of the first places where it becomes noticeable, simply because blood has to work against gravity to travel all the way from your feet back up to your heart. Now here is where things get really interesting. The vitamin I am talking about today is vitamin E, and I want you to understand this is not just a general antioxidant vitamin that vaguely supports your health. Vitamin E has specific, targeted, well-documented effects on the cardiovascular system and on circulation that are unique among all the vitamins we know of. Vitamin E is what scientists call a fat-soluble antioxidant, meaning it is stored in the fatty tissues and cell membranes of your body. And this is critically important because your blood vessel walls are made up of fatty cell membranes. This is exactly where oxidative damage happens, and this is exactly where vitamin E goes to work. While other antioxidants like vitamin C work in the watery parts of your body, vitamin E positions itself directly inside those cell membranes, right at the site where free radical damage occurs, acting as a shield and a repair agent at the same time. But the benefits of vitamin E for leg circulation go far beyond just antioxidant protection, and this is where the real conversation needs to happen. One of the most significant problems affecting blood flow in the legs of seniors is something called platelet aggregation. This is a fancy term for the tendency of blood cells to clump together and become sticky, which slows down circulation, increases the risk of clots, and contributes to that heavy, tired feeling in the legs. Research has consistently shown that vitamin E acts as a natural antiplatelet agent. It helps keep blood cells moving fluidly without clumping, which directly improves the ease and efficiency of blood flow through the smaller vessels in your feet, ankles, and lower legs. This is one of the primary reasons people who optimize their vitamin E levels report such significant improvements in leg comfort and circulation. There is another mechanism at work here that I find absolutely fascinating, and that is the effect of vitamin E on something called nitric oxide. If you have not heard of nitric oxide, you need to pay attention to this because it is arguably the most important molecule in your entire cardiovascular system. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule that tells the muscles surrounding your blood vessels to relax and open up, allowing more blood to flow through. Think of your arteries like a garden hose. Nitric oxide is what widens the hose, allowing more water to flow freely. When nitric oxide production declines, which happens naturally with age, your blood vessels become more constricted, blood pressure tends to rise, and circulation to the extremities, meaning your hands and feet and legs, suffers significantly. Multiple studies have demonstrated that adequate vitamin E levels support the body's ability to produce and use nitric oxide effectively, which means better vessel dilation, better blood flow, and direct improvement in leg circulation. Now let us talk about a condition that millions of seniors are dealing with, but which often goes completely undiagnosed, and that is called peripheral artery disease, or PAD. Peripheral artery disease occurs when arteries in the legs become narrowed due to plaque buildup, reducing blood flow to the muscles in your legs. Symptoms include cramping during walks that goes away with rest, coldness in the lower legs or feet, leg weakness, and sometimes a feeling of heaviness or fatigue. Even in people who do not have a formal diagnosis of PAD, subclinical circulation issues in the legs are extremely common after 60. And here is what the research tells us about vitamin E in this context. Studies going back to the 1980s and continuing through the present day have consistently shown that supplementing with vitamin E helps reduce the symptoms associated with poor peripheral circulation. Patients in these studies reported being able to walk farther distances without cramping, experienced less leg pain, and showed measurable improvements in blood flow when tested with ultrasound imaging. I also want to address something that comes up a lot when we talk about vitamin E, and that is the question of forms. Not all vitamin E is created equal, and this is critically important to understand if you are going to supplement with it. When most people think about vitamin E supplements, they think about the synthetic form called DL-alpha tocopherol, which is the cheap version found in most drugstore multivitamins. However, the natural form of vitamin E is D-alpha tocopherol, and natural vitamin E is significantly more bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs and uses it much more effectively. But even beyond that distinction, the full spectrum of natural vitamin E actually includes 8 different compounds, 4 tocopherols and 4 tocotrienols. Most supplements only contain alpha tocopherol, but research suggests that the tocotrienol fraction of vitamin E, and particularly gamma tocopherol, may actually have some of the most powerful cardiovascular and circulation benefits. If you are looking for a vitamin E supplement specifically for vascular health and leg circulation, look for a mixed tocopherol formula or a product that includes tocotrienols, and always confirm it is the natural form. Let us now talk about how widespread vitamin E deficiency actually is among people over 60, because I think this will surprise you. According to nutrition surveys conducted in multiple countries, including the United States, the majority of older adults are not getting enough vitamin E through their diet alone. The recommended dietary allowance for vitamin E is 15 milligrams per day for adults, but the average intake in older populations is consistently measured well below that threshold. Why? Because the foods richest in vitamin E, foods like sunflower seeds, almonds, hazelnuts, pine nuts, wheat germ oil, and avocados are not staple foods in the typical diet of most seniors. Meanwhile, dietary fat intake often decreases with age, and since vitamin E is a fat-soluble vitamin that requires fat in the diet to be properly absorbed, even seniors who eat some vitamin E containing foods may not be absorbing it effectively if they are on a low-fat diet. There is also an important interaction between vitamin E and another nutrient you need to know about, which is selenium. Selenium is a trace mineral that works synergistically with vitamin E in the body's antioxidant defense system. These two nutrients amplify each other's effectiveness, and deficiency in one can actually impair the function of the other. Brazil nuts are one of the richest dietary sources of selenium, and including a small amount of selenium-containing foods alongside your vitamin E intake can make a meaningful difference in how effectively your body utilizes both nutrients for vascular protection and circulation support. Now, I want to spend a moment on what not to do, because I see so many people make avoidable mistakes when they start addressing their leg circulation issues. The first mistake is relying entirely on supplements without addressing the dietary foundation. Whole food sources of vitamin E come packaged with other beneficial compounds, healthy fats, antioxidants, minerals, that work together in ways a supplement alone cannot fully replicate. So while supplementation can be very helpful, especially for people who are deficient, it should not replace a diet that includes vitamin E-rich whole foods. The second mistake is taking calcium supplements without ensuring adequate vitamin K2, which works alongside vitamin E in keeping calcium in the bones where it belongs and out of the arteries where it causes damage and stiffness. If you are supplementing with calcium and not taking vitamin K2, you may actually be contributing to arterial calcification and worsening your circulation, even if everything else is in order. The third mistake is sitting for prolonged periods throughout the day. No vitamin in the world can fully compensate for hours of inactivity. When you sit for long periods, the muscles in your legs are not contracting, and this contraction is actually part of what drives venous return, the pumping of blood back up through the veins toward the heart. Even standing up for 5 minutes every hour and doing a few gentle calf raises can make a significant difference in how well blood moves through your legs. Let me also address the role of hydration, because this is something that is chronically underappreciated in the context of circulation. As we age, the sensation of thirst naturally diminishes, which means seniors often become mildly dehydrated without realizing it. When you are even slightly dehydrated, your blood becomes more viscous and thick, meaning it does not flow as easily through your vessels. Combined with the arterial stiffness and reduced nitric oxide production we already discussed, mild dehydration can significantly worsen leg circulation and contribute to cramping. Drinking enough water throughout the day, not just when you feel thirsty, is a simple, free intervention that supports everything else you are doing for your vascular health. I also want to briefly talk about the relationship between inflammation and leg circulation, because chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary drivers of vascular damage in aging adults. Vitamin E, particularly the gamma-tocopherol form, has demonstrated meaningful anti-inflammatory effects in research inhibiting specific inflammatory pathways that contribute to the damage and stiffening of blood vessel walls. Combining vitamin E with an anti-inflammatory dietary pattern, one that is rich in vegetables, colorful fruits, omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish or flaxseed, and low in refined sugars and processed vegetable oils, creates a comprehensive approach to reducing vascular inflammation that no single supplement can achieve on its own. One more thing I want to highlight is the role of gentle, consistent movement. I am not talking about strenuous exercise. I am talking about walking, stretching, and particularly lower leg exercises like toe raises, ankle circles, and seated leg lifts, all of which stimulate blood flow through the calf veins and reduce the pooling of blood that contributes to swelling, heaviness, and fatigue in the legs. When you combine this kind of regular movement with optimized vitamin E levels, proper hydration, reduced inflammation, and adequate selenium intake, you are creating conditions in your body where circulation can genuinely improve over time, not just temporarily. If you are considering starting vitamin E supplementation, a generally well-tolerated range for adults looking to support cardiovascular and circulatory health is between 200 and 400 international units per day of natural mixed tocopherol vitamin E. However, it is always wise to speak with your healthcare provider before beginning any new supplement, particularly if you are taking blood-thinning medications, because vitamin E does have mild blood-thinning properties of its own, and the two can interact. Your doctor can help you determine the right dose and confirm there are no contraindications based on your personal health history and current medications. So let us bring everything together. What we have covered today is that the decline in leg circulation that so many people over 60 experience is driven by real, measurable changes in the blood vessels, oxidative damage to the vessel lining, reduced nitric oxide production, increased platelet stickiness, arterial inflammation, and age-related stiffening. Vitamin E is uniquely positioned to address multiple of these mechanisms simultaneously, particularly in its natural full-spectrum form, by acting as a fat-soluble antioxidant inside cell membranes, by supporting nitric oxide availability, by reducing platelet aggregation, and by exerting anti-inflammatory effects on the vascular wall. While magnesium is certainly important for muscle function and many other processes in the body, the evidence for vitamin E's specific role in improving peripheral circulation and leg vascular health is compelling, well established, and unfortunately overlooked in most mainstream health conversations. The most powerful action you can take starting today is to increase your dietary intake of vitamin E-rich whole foods. Consider a high-quality natural mixed tocopherol supplement if your diet is consistently falling short. Pair it with selenium-containing foods, stay well hydrated, move your legs regularly throughout the day, and reduce dietary sources of inflammation. These steps together form a complete and practical strategy for genuinely improving how your legs feel and how well your circulation functions, regardless of your age. If you found this information valuable and you want to protect your vascular health and take real control over how you feel every day, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss an important health update like this one. Hit the like button to let me know this topic was helpful to you, and leave a comment below telling me what health topic you would like me to cover in the next video. I read every single comment, and your suggestions directly shape the content I create for you.